Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 8 of What If Naruto Was Neglected with Joker Personality. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. Go ahead and check out the brand new episode of Anime Prince. And also guys, over Anime King 2, I post a brand new series. What if Naruto got training from a special organization? So go ahead, check that out and enjoy guys. And remember for new, yes, that is right, I indeed have 4 channels. 4 guys, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, and Anime Prince, which I post what if on every single day. Yes, you heard that correctly, every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and destroy that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support, and yeah, without further ado, you're wasting any more time, what do you say we jump right into this new episode. Start the intro. So the last spot we left off, Ino let Kai believe that it was his idea. As he wanted to stop the tradition, he didn't want to go down this path. He wanted to create a new organization. It was his grandfather that had a grudge against the hidden villages, not him. So with that he gathered all the people. There was a lot of powerful ninjas here. Kisame, there was Pakura, there was Kakazu, Hidan. All the members were here. Aoi, some top members, and other than that there was around another large group of ninjas that were located down below. As they'd been waiting for Kai permission to finally make the move, however he was here now, and they couldn't wait to hear what he had to say. He had gathered them all up as he was ready to talk. They all waited as he told them that he wanted to abandon this scenes of attack and he wanted to create a new hidden villages for them. They were all upset by this as they didn't want this. They wanted to wreak their havoc on the elemental nations, and yet he came giving them this crap. That is when Naruto made himself be known, as he blatantly challenged Kai. Kai was already ready to kill Naruto, as both of them went to a circle. As everyone stood around watching, all of the upper members of the organization, as both Naruto and Kai start to fight. Kai gained his reputation because he was able to defeat Sasori of the Red Sands. It was then that Naruto saw the mark on him, as he told him to go ahead, because otherwise he would die. Kai released the cursed mark. It turns out that he had a deal with Orochimaru, as Naruto decimated Kai without even using any advanced ninjutsu, as he dislocated Kai's body. Naruto broke him in front of his allies and his people to make them see that he was nothing, as Naruto was going slow so they could understand that Kai was not the leader they seek. Aoi decided to blatantly challenge Naruto afterwards, as he just realized that Kai was weak and he could have killed him anytime, so why should he follow someone like Naruto? Naruto proceeded to snap his neck in a second, showing him that he was nothing, as Naruto was holding back for them all to see that he was better than Kai. So when facing someone like Aoi, he had no means to hold back, so he quickly snapped his neck. With that out of the way, all of the people gathered as Naruto spoke to them. He wanted to make a change, he wanted to make a move. And he wasn't like Kai, he wasn't a coward. The people quickly rallied behind him. Meanwhile at Konoha, as the information was going around, it turns out that Mito was pregnant. As Menma was so happy about that, as he spoke to Kakashi. His father come in there as well as he started to try to get a sense of the land, what was going on. Menma could not protect Naruto if they ever found out that if Naruto was the one behind these atrocities. Along with Ino, he wouldn't be able to protect him. The other nations will try to swarm and they will disrupt the peace that they were trying to build. However, Naruto and his organization move in less than a month as they move out in the next week. They quickly took to the skies as they split apart into groups. Pakura went with Ino as they went to do something towards the sun. Kisame and Zabuza went towards Kiri, while Deidara and Hidan went towards the Hidden Stone. As they were there capturing members, Kakazu and Naruto went towards Kumo, the Raikage Darui. It turns out that he had a child with Samui as he placed him inside the office inside of a secret vault and to stay in there until he get back. As Naruto mimicked his voice and knocked on the door, Samui tried to stop him as Naruto knocked her rather quickly before he looked towards the child, and a smile came on his face. Back at the Hidden Stone, Hidan had kidnapped a very special girl as he threw her over his shoulder before he slaughtered a bunch of innocent people, and they were high profile because of their status, as they were creating chaos amongst the Elemental Nation as the fun has just started up. So yeah guys, basically that's what I thought. If you guys can switch across the play, check out for yourself, and also don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs over the other channels, and I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them, and not to mention stay tuned for the what ifs to come over in Anime King 3 as well guys. So yeah, without further ado, what is so we jump right into this new episode without wasting more time guys. Begin now. It was just a normal day in Kiri when Kisame, the tailless tail beast, appeared in the center of the village in a sunshine, shocking the populace. He flashed through hand sign rather quickly before he started to release a large quantity of rushing, crushing water out of his mouth. The water exploded outwards as it turned into a gigantic bubble, sucking up all of the buildings and the civilians. Kisame smirked as his body changed into a more shark-like appearance with Samehata. As he went through hand sign, random attacks shot from the bubble of water, decimating houses and land. Water dragons shot bombs, shark waves, as he drew the attention of more than a few shinobis, causing nothing but chaos. Those outside of his bubbles tried to save the civilians that were outside, that were almost sucked in, and those idiotic enough, thinking that they could save the ones inside as they jumped in, only to be captured, having their chakra drained. Then he was greeted by a few Anvu who thought they were better to fight in water than him. He swam faster than they could keep up with, as he ripped them to shreds with ease. As he went through hand sign once again, more deadly jutsus shot from inside of his bubble, decimating the land and the people around it. A sick chuckle went off as he kept on creating chaos as he swam up to the surface, seeing someone that he wanted to actually battle, none other than the Mizukage holding on to his bulky blade. Kisame smirked viciously. The fun has just started up. Meanwhile that was going on, Zabuza sliced through another guard as he rushed toward his destination. Just a while ago he saw the new Mizukage Tojo walking out of the building, giving directions to a couple of guards, as he gave them the order to protect her with their life, so he knew that he was in the right location. He was rather disappointed with the skill of the shinobis that he's run into thus far. Only one of them were able to put up an adequate fight. However, it just lasts only 20 seconds, still not good enough. As he went around another corner, he dropped into a slide, avoiding the blade that tried to take his head off. He turned as he looked the young swordsman in the eyes. The boy was holding the blade and it was shaking as he tried to keep his composure. Zabuza slowly stepped forward as the man decided to try his luck. Zabuza brought his blade up as he blocked the strike with absolute ease. "You're unfit to be a swordsman," he said, as he sliced him in half straight down the middle. With that finish, he kept on moving, ignoring the tremors of the village. He threw the blade as it burst through the wooden door, impaling who was on the other side with a grunt. He ran and kicked the door open as he ripped his blade out. He jumped, avoiding a slash from the man next to him. While in the air, he scouted the room. There were 3 remaining enemies. The chair was spinning, meaning someone just jumped out of it. He used a hole in his blade to wrap around the neck of the man that just tried to attack him. He then landed as he ducked, avoiding a slash from the man behind him, as he yanked his blade down, causing the man that was captured in a loop to be pulled down. As the man slashed his own partner, Zabuza then turned and sliced the both of them. The last wannabe swordsman rushed towards him, swiping his blade at him with a war cry. Zabuza dodged the blade as he grabbed the man's wrist before he snapped it and pulled him down, smashing his knee in the man's face. As he then grabbed him by the face and flipped him before he dropped him hard on the ground, as he then proceeded to stomp right in the man's throat, killing him instantly. As Zabuza pulled out his blade before he started to walk, as he slowly walked towards the decks, as he heard the breathing, he gripped the decks and flipped it over, showing the frightened woman underneath. She tried to scramble away from him, but he simply smirked. Meanwhile, Jumping towards another roof, Ino planted another paper bomb before she jumped and repeated the process. It was almost sundown, and she had planted hundreds around the city. They were needed for her plan. Once she was set and ready, she moved back towards where Pakura was. You ready? Pakura asked her, still a bit touchy, afraid that she was still a bit heated from their last conversation when she tried to ask about Naruto. All set, said Ino with a smile and a thumbs up. Let's have a blast. Pakura looked at her strangely, but she nodded nonetheless. I'm going, said Pakura. She moved on towards her target. Ino sat there, swinging her legs back in front. When it was time to act, she stood to her feet as she stretched her body out. Okay, time to meet my love proud, she said, as she performed a few hand signs as she pulled her mask up slightly so her lips were exposed. As she then smooched the air, a ball of light shot from her lips right towards the center of the village. For a second it seemed to just disappear within the vast city as she waited with a smile. And then with a flash of lights, a deafening boom went off, rocking the village. She cheered loudly at the explosion as a patrolling Chunin moving back spotted her, jumping and cheering. She pulled a scroll from her pouch as she quickly went through hand sign. Poof! A sword appeared as she caught it by the hilt. He tried to perform hand signs as she turned, as she pulled and launched her blade, as it proceeded to tear right through the center of his chest, as she plucked it from his chest before she jumped and shoot off a fireball towards the village. When it hit, she jumped from her high vantage point, avoiding the puppet that shot towards her. Looking for the assailant, she turned to see none other than Conqueror utilizing his puppet. She smirked beneath her mask as she rushed through the village, letting off more and more attack as explosions after explosions rocked the place. Meanwhile, with Pakura, as she jumped through the building window, where she assumed the target would be in, going through hand signs 3, balls of flame formed behind her. As she ran down the hall, she could hear footsteps running down the adjacent path. She shot one of the balls forward as it cut the man off, slamming through his form. He fell to the ground looking like he was drained of all the moisture that was in his body. She picked the carcass up and threw it into a nearby closet, as she could hear multiple steps from above her. As she continued to run, as she leaped up in the ceiling, avoiding the detection from a voice that she knew. It was a Kazekage Gaara heading down the hall, with his advisor discussing the attack that was taking place. How much damage has been done, he asked urgently. The brown hair man kept up his pace. The assailant has destroyed a huge chunk of the market district. There is a heap of civilian casualties and a few shinobi as well. Conqueror Sama is currently giving chase, he finished as he rounded the corner. Pakura was impressed by her partner, destructive capabilities. She thought that she would have been more dainty in battle, maybe relying on speed and power to handle a fight. If the Kazekage was on his way, however, she would have to do this quickly. Dropping back down to the floor, she rushed off at full speed as she rounded the corner. At the end of this hall was a room reserved for important meetings that could not be heard or seen by prying eyes. The perfect place for the Kazekage to hide his valuables. Before she reached the door, she threw a kunai with an explosive tag on the end of it. The door was blown open, jostling the elder council members in their seats. These were the same bastards that tried to kill her years ago. Ignoring that fact, though, she had a mission to do. One of them saw her rush in. No, wait, Pakura. However, she jumped over the table, ignoring that, as she blew the door off its hinges. Inside the small, secure room was a woman, nursing a child. The men at the table all stood to their feet as they saw her intentions. She's after the Kazekage nephew. She had no time for that as she reformed the balls of flame behind her. She quickly sent one out and drained the woman that had placed the baby down to face her. The woman's drained body fell to the ground as Pakura rushed towards the crib that the woman set the baby in. Picking him up, she turned as she sent another one of her balls into the room. She stepped to the side of the door as she waited. The ball burst into a mist and drained the life of the 5 remaining men that were in. As soon as it did, she took off, looking down towards the disgusting man on her way by. She covered the baby as she burst through one of the first windows, leaping towards the building. As she ran along the wall of the village, she looked towards all the chaos that has been done. The city was in mass destruction as she could see sand tentacles chasing after the masked blonde, who was too quick for the Kazekage to catch. She created a clone and sent it off to inform her that they were done and they need to escape. She didn't want to alert the Kazekage of the true purpose of this mission. She couldn't let him see the bundle for fear of him giving chase. Pakura clone reached the location and launched a kunai, blowing back the sand tentacles as it was an explosive tag wrapped to it. Ino looked up as she saw Pakura empty-handed. However, Pakura simply nodded and poofed away. Understanding the message, Ino came to a stop as she looked towards the Kazekage. "This was fun, Kazekage-sama," she said. Her tone was cute, rather unsettling, given the fact that she had killed so much people. Gaara looked absolutely furious as the sand seemed to bubble along with his anger. "Why have you done this?" he demanded. "How about I tell you later," she said, as she blew a kiss to him. "You're not going anywhere," he said, as he brought his hand up in a threatening way. "Oh, I think I am," she said, raising her hand around sign, as Gaara looked towards her unsure if she was bluffing or not. "You got a village to save." With that, she set off all the tags that she placed. Gaara turned as he saw all the explosions. Peering back over his shoulder, he thought about what to do. Damn it, he cursed as he rushed towards his people to aid them. As Ino got away, Pakura waited on the other side of the wall as she heard the explosions, as Ino flipped over. As she giggled, "We did it," she said as she landed, as the two girls started to run off. Time skip. The 5 higher-ups. They were lounging on in the room, talking about how great it was for them to finally take action. It has been a week since their attack, and they were waiting on the girls to finally return. As Naruto was absent from the group, he rather sit on the throne, with a book in his face as usual. He was planning out the next move in his head. There was one more task to complete before they were ready. It will be the most taxing, of course, but the most satisfying to complete. Getting to a section in his book that made him think, he read this section out loud. "War is but a mere stepping stone in the struggle of humanity. A struggle to survive, not only in the basic sense, but to survive in comfort, to survive in pride." It makes sense. Humanity is selfish, arrogantly driven by a need to have more than the next man. More power, more intelligence, more money, more land, more lovers. It was all just a blind objective, to blind everyone from the one and only truth. That truth being, "Hi love, we're back," said Ino, as she landed in the throne next to his. "Ah, alas," said Naruto as he put his book away and he got to his feet. He held his hand out as she took it. "Did you retrieve the target?" "Yes, well, no. Pakura did. I was a distraction," she said, hugging onto his arm. He looked over to her. "Were you now?" he said. "And love. My kiss of doom worked," she said. "I thought I told you," he said, holding on to her mask. "I don't like using that. You nearly killed yourself last time you did." She rubbed his hand. "I got it down now, love," she said. "I can do it from up to 50 feet away now." "Well, if you say so," he said, as he started to walk. She jumped on his back as she always did, as he carried her to the meeting room, as she played with the back of his hair. When they reached the meeting room, the others were still chatting away about their completed missions. They were all giddy about what was next, even though they expected a few months of, well, inactivity. That is what they expected. "Be ready. We leave for the final portion of the preparation in an hour." With his piece said, he turned to leave. "Final portion," said Pakura, as Naruto turned towards him. "Konoha, of course. We're all going there." As he continued to walk down the hall, the 6 higher-up exchanged glances with one another, as Hidan burst out laughing. "I love this guy," he said. The others didn't verbally agree, but by the way they all stood up with a grin or chuckle, you can tell that they all agree as well. Meanwhile, Naruto and Ino made their way down towards the hall, leading towards the chamber where the 4 kidnapping victims were. As they were in the cell, well, the 3 that could provide for themselves. The Kazekage nephew was being cared for by a woman of the army a few rooms over, as Naruto had set Ino down, and they were casually walking until they got in front of the cell. The victims scrambled away from the bars. The woman that Sabusa and Kisame had kidnapped from Kira shouted, "What do you want?" "Welcome, Rai-sama," said Naruto. "You all must be wondering why you're here," as he pasted back in front of their cell. Despite her outburst, she was still much afraid as she backed up towards the wall. "I am horribly sorry, but you're here because of your fiancé. I needed to accept my invitation, and if I have you, he will come running." Makisuke decided to question him next. "Then why am I here?" Her voice was timid as she already knew the answer. "From what I was told by Hidan, you are widely known to be the closest friend to the Tishigage, Kurasuke. At least that is what the informant told him." Makisuke remained silent after that. Certainly that line would do her no good, as Naruto went back to pacing. "What are you gonna do to us?" said Rai, her motherly instinct kicking in as she pushed the dark-skinned boy behind her. As Naruto tilted his head, "Oh, nothing," he said. "As I said before, you're only here as incentive for your fiancé to attend. In due time, Rai-sama. Until then, remain here. Shout out to this gentleman here if you need anything," as he grabbed onto a random soldier who was passing by. The man looked starstruck as he stood in front of their leader. Yes sir," he said, as Naruto patted him on the shoulder as him and Ino walked back. A few minutes later, and the group of deadly ninjas stood in their field, above the base. "Now," said Naruto, "the attack must happen now, and we have to get there as soon as possible. It takes about 10 days total before a message is sent from the Sun to Konoha, meaning that we have an estimated 3 days to meet it there." "Oh, we'll make that no problem," said Deidara, as he threw some clay. It expanded into a huge dragon, large enough to carry them all. As Naruto nodded to him in apparent appreciation before he continued, "The reason why we're all going is because of Konoha's strength." He could see that some of them were offended as he quickly deduced their anger. Not as a nation but individual shinobi-wise, they possess the most extensive list in the bingo books. Everyone will be needed to play the distraction other than Ino, who will retrieve the target. "Gotcha, hun," said Ino from his side. As they climb up toward the clay bird, Naruto spoke. "We attack with no mercy. Cause as much damage as possible. Keep the attention on the main battlefield and off the objective." As on Deidara's command, they were zipping through the sky. Time skip. Menma and Shikamaru stood on the roof of the Hokage Tower as they look onto the clear day. He was going over everything they discovered, hoping that Shikamaru had a different viewpoint on the whole thing. "Ino, huh? So she's alive," he said, thinking about his old teammate. Menma understood what he was going through. However, he understood on a much deeper level. After all, Naruto was his older brother. His own flesh and blood, even though in the past, it didn't seem like it. They were a lot closer before they started their training. It was a common infatuation that any kid would feel for their older sibling. Mito as well, but it was to a different extent with him. They were brothers. He could remember the day of climbing into Naruto's bed, when he had nightmares, or jumping on him in the morning to wake him up. Those were much better times. The three of them were inseparable during those days. It was crazy when he thought about it. It was his own selfishness that caused all of this to happen. If he had just waited until they graduate the academy, then maybe his mother and father would have trained Naruto while they spent their time being children. But instead, all of their attention was focused on him and Mito, leaving Naruto to defend for himself. For a while in their Chunin days, when they left on the training trip with Jiraiya and their mother, Menma wondered why was Naruto so forgiving. When he was younger, he didn't worry about it. His young mind just wanted everything to return back to normal, and Naruto was a part of being normal. By the time he arrived at the academy, he had so much pride in his older brother that he constantly boasted how great his brother was. Of course, he was always overshadowed by Sasuke though, whose brother was Itachi Uchiha. Regardless, on the trip out of the village, he started to mature, as he started to understand the world a bit better. When he did, he started to think back to those days, when he wouldn't see Naruto for days, then weeks, then forever. It was the first time that he understood the reason his mother cried every now and then. He understood what neglect was, and he couldn't imagine how it would affect someone. So why was his brother so okay with it? Menma was certain that if it was him in that position, he wouldn't have been so okay about it. He had saw him in a new light even from miles away. To him, in that moment of realization, Naruto was unbreakable. He was too strong both mentally and physically to let anything or anyone hold him down. Then, midway through their trip, they received word that Naruto and Namikaze had been arrested. Without hesitation, the trip was dropped. They returned home demanding answers. It was a shocker to Menma when he returned to a cold-shouldered Sasuke who seemed to hate him for some reason. It wasn't until later when he learned the whole thing. Naruto had killed Itachi Uchiha by the manipulation of the snake Sanin. It was a heartbreaking story to even hear about, knowing how close the two of them was. It seems like Sasuke would never forgive him, but after their fathers made up, Fukaku gave Sasuke a talking to, telling him that his anger was misplaced. He absolutely hated Naruto though, which Menma understood of course. It was only a natural human emotion. Regardless of their friendship, he was determined to free his brother for an action that was not his fault. The point is, he knew what Shikamaru was going through, and then some. "What do we do?" said Menma as he gripped the railing. Shikamaru sighs. He looked around the village. Menma, if it comes down to it, we cannot spare them if they continue their actions. Menma shut his eyes in defeat. Hearing it from Shikamaru just seal a deal. Everyone had already suggested to him so far, but hearing it from a person that he knew that to come up with another plan in the toughest of situations, it sealed the whole thing. Do you think you can do it? Menma asks, as he was referring to Ino. Shikamaru leaned over the railing. Menma, I have a son. If Ino jeopardizes his safety, in any shape or form, I will not hesitate. It destroys my heart, but I will do what I have to. Menma rubbed his neck. This was so much stress for just taking office. He looked up to the cloudy sky. Wait, why were there so much clouds? It was just completely clear a few minutes ago. As if an ominous warning went off, a clap of thunder from a few miles away went off. As it shook the village a bit. There was a storm coming. Odd. I thought we were in for clear skies, Shikamaru said, as he looked up towards the clouds above. Damn, weather is so unpredictable these days. Yeah, said Menma, even though he felt a strange pit in his stomach. Naruto and the others move, as Ino grabbed the kunai with the explosive tab before she jumped down, right into the forest. Deidara flew to the center of the village, above the clouds, awaiting the order, as Naruto was mounting down numbers slowly, like he was timing something perfectly. The others were already preparing their first attack. Deidara had two clay birds in his hand. Pakura had manifested her chakra orbs. Zabuza and Kisame had their sword drawn. The masses on Kakazu's body tore as they took their own form. And Hidan was itching to leap and wreak havoc as he gripped his sight. Naruto raised his hand as a Rasengan form, as wind started to gather around it, creating four shuriken blades. And then in the center, a fire orb exploded, turning the thing white. He held it over the clay creature, the others watching in fascination and wonder, as Naruto kept on counting down. 6, 5, 4, 3. He went silent as he stuck his hand out more. Then he casually turned his hand over, causing a deadly ball of light to fall right from his palm. The others watched in curiosity at what it would do. The ball slowly came down in the crowded market of Konoha section. People turned towards it confused. It slowly went into the ground and just vanished, until the ground started to crack. It then erupted. Block after block were consumed and swallowed by the cataclysmic explosion. Before they knew it, they were spotted and balls of fire were being sent their way. Go, said Naruto. The group swerved around the projectile attacks coming their way as they moved down. It would seem like every ninja within the village was already on the attack. Pakura shot two of her chakra orbs towards the most dense area. When it hit the ground, it exploded, causing the unnatural mist to drain the life force of the people nearby. Kisame absorbed all of the attacks, sucking off the chakra off the techniques. Kakazu Black Mask creature was firing out lightning, slicing through several techniques. When they neared the ground, they grabbed onto whatever pole or slip off any building to break their fall. Without question, they burst apart, splitting themselves as each of them went down a different path, as they made sure to stay away from the main target, as all of them were interacted by different famous jonins, Kakashi Hatake and Asuma Sarutobi. Kakashi lifted his headband, his sight set on Zabuza. As Asuma turned towards Hidan, Deidara was zipping through the sky, as he was throwing his clay creatures until he was forced to jump, avoiding another piece of flying art. This one was created by ink, as he turned to see a pale guy with a blank expression eyeing him from a black and white bird. His grin widened as he zipped off, throwing more explosive along the way. The pale man was either forced to save the people or attack him. With Pakura, she landed. Immediately, she crossed her arms as she was thrown back by a gust of wind. She pulled a kunai in mid-air. She deflected a barrage of weapons in their way. When she landed, she saw none other than the Kazekage sister standing next to a girl with two buns in her hair and two scrolls in her hand. "Oh, it's you," said Pakura, like she was not threatening the slightest. "Pakura," said Temari, stepping forward their fan. "Why have you come here?" As Pakura created two orbs. "Don't let those touch you. It's instant death," said Temari as he looked towards Tenten. As she gripped her fan tightly, Tenten knew that she'd have to play a support role, since Temari knew about the enemy. As for Kisame, he was slicing down the shinobis. shredding them to pieces. Just as he was about to kill another man, he jumped back as a kick broke the wall. Looking towards his next opponent, he stifled a laugh at his ridiculous appearance. He was clad in a green suit with a bowl cut. "What the hell are you?" said Kisame. Before he received an answer, he had to dodge another attack, as he felt a deja vu as the both of them looked the exact same way, dressed in the same clothing, but this one was younger. "Guy Sensei, let us fight to win and better ourselves while we're in the springtime of our youth." Carefully, as Lee glanced to see Neji stepping forward. This guy is no ordinary opponent. His chakra is unbelievable, he said. Byakugan activated. "Lee, remain vigilant. I'm getting the vibe that this guy's really dangerous guy. We will beat him together." As Kisame watched the spectacle in confusion before he readied his blade. Meanwhile, Takazu was simply walking as his blob of threads were wreaking havoc and destroying everything in their path. He didn't have to do much, but he did reach out every now and then and kill a few individuals. As he continued walking until he physically could not, as he looked to see that his shadow was a lot longer than it should have been. He followed to a young man who had his fingers crouched in a strange position. Standing next to him was a pudgier man with swirls on his face and a Hyuga girl. A man on the back of a huge dog and a kid releasing bugs from his body. "Huh?" said Shikamaru sigh. "This one was easy enough. Hinata, put him to sleep." She nodded as she dropped in a stance, her Byakugan activated. Her eyes widened. What? She couldn't get to warn him as a hand broke from the ground, grabbing Shikamaru by the throat and lifting him up, before it brutally crushed him in the earth. Kakuzu retracted his hand as he started to walk forward once again. The group heard themselves as his five blob of mass shreds shot forward. Meanwhile, Ino went through the window as she ran down the hall. She already checked 2 locations, but they came up empty both times. This was the last spot. Hearing footsteps, she waited as she sliced the calf of the shinobi, forcing him to drop to the ground. As she left him to suffer, she continued on as she saw a door at the bottom of the corner with light peeping through the bottom. She ran full speed and kicked it open. However, there was just a light on and a single table. No one was there. She grunted as she turned to leave. That is when she heard a thud. She turned and walked in as she looked around, but there was nothing around. As she then noticed the chair was pushed too far away from Dex, and she had not touched a chair. As she peeped to see a small feature in the carp. It was subtle, but it was noticeable. As she kept pulling at it until a huge chunk of the carpet came up with ease. It was like a cutout that perfectly hid the spot when you lay it back down. There was a metallic door that obviously belonged to a bunker. She looked at it with a grin as she pulled it open and dropped right down into it. Looking around, she saw a carrier. Inside was a daughter of the Hokage. She chuckled before she threw her hand up and blocked the kick that swung towards her head. It was hard enough to throw her to the side of the bunker. She then rolled under a fist that slammed into the wall. As she got back to her feet, looking towards the pink-headed girl standing between her and the child. "Who the hell are you?" Sakura said. Ino smirked underneath her mask as she chuckled, seeing Sakura's poor stance. A few years out of training was very noticeable already. "Sakura Namikaze," Ino said behind her mask. "Look, how about you just step aside before you get hurt, sweetie?" Sakura adjusted her grip on her kunai. The bunker was small. She couldn't fight how she usually did, but she would protect her child no matter what. Meanwhile, as Naruto calmly walked through the streets, his blade in hand as he sliced through anyone that dared to even step towards him. He had so far decimated a group of Jonin, 3 Envoy agents, and 8 Jonins, as he walked killing anyone that he saw. By now he thought he would be engaged by someone more worthy, like Kakashi or Guy, but not a single sight of them anywhere. He reminisced his time here as he looked towards the new scenery. Well, what was left standing? He brought his blade up as he blocked a kunai heading towards his face. He turned to see a Uchiha member, police force, with a kunai in hand as he rushed towards him. As Naruto had experienced fighting against this Sharingan with one of the greatest users out of the entire clan. He blocked the attack as he simply dodged before he swiped his throat. As expected, the man leaned back to avoid it. When he did, a clone of Naruto sliced his head clean off from behind him. Looking down, Naruto stabbed both of his eyes, destroying them. Walking down the road, Naruto was greeted with 2 more people. Deep in thought, he slashed them down without even looking closely. The liquid sprayed out and covered the side of his mask. As he continued to walk, his hand drenched in blood. The blood splattered on his face as well. Without warning, a kunai flew towards his face. Reaching up, he caught the kunai. It wasn't a normal kunai, as he saw the three-pronged shape. He brought his other hand up and catch a fist of Menma, who appeared in front of him. Menma was shocked and quickly jumped back. "Hokage," said Naruto, slowly walking towards him. The look Menma gave him told him that he knew who he was. "Please, don't do this." "You've grown," said Naruto. "Hokage now, huh?" Menma tightened the grip on the kunai in his hand as he looked towards his brother. "Why? Why you're doing this?" he yelled. The man didn't answer. Naruto lashed out and caught the throat of a random jonin that leaped from the alley. Menma stuck his hand out as if telling him not to, as Naruto saw him holding the kunai to ready to throw it. However, Naruto snapped the man's neck and just tossed him aside. "No!" Menma yelled as he launched the kunai forward. Meanwhile, in the metallic bunker, Ino looked towards Sakura, a bit of a smile gracing her unseen lips. She will make this fun in so many levels, given the time frame that she was given. As she rolled her neck before she launched a kunai and rushed forward, Sakura knocked it out of the way with her own kunai as she leaned back to avoid a sword slash. Immediately, she had to parry the other attack as they were caught in a deadlock. She looked into the eye holes of the mask and she saw nothing but darkness. Ino released her sword, allowing it to drop to the side of the bunker, and went for a punch to her face. However, Sakura knocked it away and tried to slash at her with her kunai. Ino brought her knee up and hit the inside of her elbow, as Sakura twisted on her other arm as she brought the kunai down. However, Ino slipped under the strike and delivered 3 hard hits to her abdomen. She staggered back as Ino kicked her across the face, throwing her to the side of the bunker, as Ino strolled over towards her and stood above her, looking down towards her as she tried to get back to her feet. "You're not as strong as they say you are, huh?" said Ino in a mocking tone. Sakura got back up as she threw a few punches that were all blocked with ease. Ino caught her last hit as she twisted her arm. Before she could break it though, Sakura flipped over her and kicked her in the back, sending her into the wall. Before she could turn around though, Sakura pinned her. "What do you want?" as she pushed the forearm in the back of her neck. As Ino giggled before she pushed back, enough so she can slip under Sakura's hole. As she rolled away, delivering a sharp kick to her knee, Sakura yelped in pain as she jumped back towards the carriage to protect Samara. As she started to heal the injured knee, as she kept the eye on the masked woman. "Who are you?" Sakura said. There was a very disturbing feeling she got from fighting this woman. She couldn't describe it, it was so familiar, like she knew this woman. The hair gave her a thought, but she wouldn't consider that. She dared not try to consider that. As Ino giggled, having a feeling that Sakura knew that it was her anyway. She brought her hand up as she pushed up the mask. Sakura's eyes went wide. "Ino!" she yelled in shock. Ino giggled as she placed her hands on her hips. "Hey," she said. "What the hell are you doing?" Sakura said, as she could not understand. "Well, I'm here to get your child." "Duh." Sakura's eyes squinted threateningly. "Why?" she said. "Well, because my honey needs her for a special project." She saw the unasked question. "Oh, you don't have to know who he is right now. Just know that he's a brilliant man that just wants to help." Sakura stepped protectively in front of her child. "I don't care who he is. You're not taking her." As Ino raised the eyebrow, "Oh, come on, Billboard bro," she said. "You know that you're no longer a match. Especially not in this tight space that we're in. What are you good for other than destructive punches? You really want to risk stirring this bunker up and endangering your own child." Sakura clenched her fists. She had neglected her training for the sake of motherhood. Over the years with no combat or training has dulled her skill immensely. Now she wasn't even able to properly protect her own daughter. However, she raised her guard. She was gonna fight until her death. She wouldn't let her take her child. Love could make you weak, but love could make you strong as well. Sakura took the first option, but Ino wasn't show her what the second option had turned her into. As Sakura rushed and threw a wild haymaker, Ino ducked and hit her twice in the bicep. Sakura ignored the hiss as she swung her arm. Ino rolled out the way and rushed her once again. As Ino brought her knee up and slammed it in her chin, knocking her back. However, Sakura rushed towards her once again, refusing to give up. Meanwhile, a Rasengan slammed into the spot that he was previously standing at. As Naruto was standing on the side of the building, looking down towards Menma, who looked towards him with rage in his eyes, as he shot towards him. As Naruto waited for him to get close before he cut the chakra to his feet and fall down towards him. Menma skidded to a halt, seeing Naruto shoot towards him like a bullet. He leaned back, causing Redhead to fly past him. Turning around, he leaped away from the building as the entire thing went up in a colossal explosion. While in mid-air, he noticed 3 more tags. He threw a 3-pronged kunai as he flashed away. The moment he appeared, he had to duck under a swinging kick. However, the low one that came towards him forced him to brought his arms up. But it was just a distraction as Naruto turned. As he spun at the right moment, causing Menma to look up. BAM! A heel slam across his face. Menma's face slammed hard into the ground. He quickly pulled himself up as Naruto's heel smashed across the side of his head, launching him backwards. As he was kicked right into a building, Naruto rushed in as Menma regained his sense and tackled Naruto right into the table. His back slammed against the edge as Naruto gripped Menma around the waist and lifted him up and threw him over his head. Before he slammed his hand down on the table, causing it to flip. Before he threw it towards Menma in mid-air. Menma looked up as the table slammed right into him, forcing him to leap through the broken building. As Naruto rushed towards him without hesitation as they started to clash, trading blow for blow. As Naruto jumped away before he ran at the building, Menma chased after him. As Shinobi burst from the window, seeing Naruto as he brought his blade to take off his head. However, Naruto slipped right underneath it before he grabbed the guy's arm and snapped it in 3 different places. He then threw the guy away as he grabbed his blade. He then turned towards Menma and swiped. Menma blocked it with a 3-pronged kunai as 2 other shinobis leaped from the window side. They both threw chains towards Naruto as he tried to wrap him around. As Menma moved in, however, Naruto slammed his hand into the wall behind him, giving him some leeway as he pulled his body back. That is when he grabbed onto the chain end and yanked it, forcing the shinobi down as he grabbed him by the throat. Menma launched his 3-pronged kunai, however, Naruto used shinobi as a back ram and slapped the kunai away as he threw the body into the other one before he drove the blade through the both of them. He ripped it out and sliced their head off before he kicked both heads towards Menma. Menma jumped over the disturbing sight as he pulled 2 kunai and threw one towards Naruto. As Naruto threw his own kunai as they knocked away each other. They clashed in mid-air as they landed in a roll. Menma grabbed Naruto's right arm and wrapped his legs around his chest as he tried to pin Naruto on the ground. However, Naruto lifted himself along with Menma before he dropped the both of them in the ground, cracking it with force. Menma grip loosened at the pain as Naruto flipped him over and picked him up by the collar and swung him around as he threw him right into a broken building. Menma got to his feet painfully as he wiped the blood away from his mouth as Naruto stood there menacingly, looking towards the down form of his little brother. As Menma rushed forward once again as Naruto waited, before he slammed a brutal kick in his chest. Menma staggered back as Naruto jumped and slammed his knee in his face, cracking his nose. With no time to recover, he flipped away as he landed on the side of a building, clutching his face in pain. Before he could react, another Naruto kicked the wall from the inside of the building, blowing him off the side. Menma leaped towards the other building, however, 2 hands grabbed his ankles as Naruto spun violently to pick up momentum, holding on to Menma. At the peak of his speed, he released his grip as Menma crashed violently into the earth. Menma's eyes snapped open as he rolled away as Naruto's feet crushed the ground. Standing back to his feet staggeringly, he pulled 2 kunai as he rushed forward. He threw them both to either side of Naruto and he went through hand signs. The 2 became many and large all around Naruto. As Naruto stood there, unafraid, as he showed little to no respect even giving Menma new position. He was not bothered, he was not scared. Menma dropped the kunai at his own feet before he disappeared. The entire place went bright with a flash. Naruto did not react as the flash was all around him, but he did not move in the slightest. As if a practice routine, he threw his hand up, blocking the right punch. Menma disappeared once again as a block of flashes continue. Naruto ducked, avoiding the kick to his head as Menma continued once again. Naruto spun as he reached out and grabbed Menma by the throat. "Ah, little brother, it's like you don't understand the jutsu. Maybe father can enlighten you," said Naruto as he dropped him and jumped away. As Menma looked over, as Minato stood there. "Father, get back," he said, as Naruto looked towards both of them unfazed. "Why have you done this? What was your plan?" said Minato, as Naruto scoffed. "Do I look like a guy with a plan?" he said. Menma got to his feet as he positioned himself next to his father, the 2 of them looking towards Naruto with steely resolves. "We will not allow you to destroy the village," said Menma, finality in his voice. "Destroy the village," said Naruto. in a casual tone. Is that what you believe I was doing? As Naruto glanced up, seeing something catch his eye. Well, in any case, I'm done here, he said. He turned as he started to walk away. Wait, said Menma, you think after all of this, that we're just gonna let you go? Naruto continued to walk away like he did not hear him. Hey, Menma yelled. Try and stop me and I can assure you that more damage will befall the village. Risk it if you wish. Menma got ready to throw his kunai until Minato grabbed his hand. Menma turned to him in question as Minato shook his head sadly. We can't beat him here. It will cause too much damage. Menma clenched his teeth as he stared at Naruto, retreating form. I don't like how easily he's giving up. Go check on Sakura. Menma's eyes widened as he searched out for her signature. However, he could not sense it, but Minato calmed him though. The bunker hid all signature. To avoid all detection, he said, as Menma nodded before he took off. Meanwhile, as Naruto got on the back of Deidara Clay Bird, he called out to the others as he got low as they jumped on. Soon, everyone was on board except for Zabuza, who had Kakashi Lightning Blade tear through his chest. As Naruto spared him a single glance before, he told Deidara to continue on. That was amazing, Hidan said. I killed so many of those bastards. Kissa made chuckle. What's your count, he said, as he now had Zabuza blade over his shoulder as well. Too many, Hidan said. Hey, where are we going next, great leader, he asked. As Naruto looked over the side of the bird, looking through the trees until he spotted Ino. We're going to greet a old friend, he said, in an ominous tone. What? Right now, said Parker. You don't allow rest, she asked. Deidara, Hidan, and Kissa made chuckle as they continue on their way. Kakazu did not seem to care much, and Naruto ignored it as well, as they scooped down and scooped up Ino. By the time they realized Hokage's daughter was gone, they would be too far to pursue. 3 days later, Menma sat next to his wife in the hospital bed. She was all bandaged up. Naruto attacked this village, tried to kill him, and took the most important thing in his life. Before he had the thought of trying to speak to him, trying to make him understand that this is not the right way, but now, the only thought in his head right now was to kill him. Never before he thought he would have a will to kill his own brother. It would have never crossed his mind, but now, it would not leave. With the absence of their most loved family member being taken, everyone made up their mind, even his mother. There was still a heaviness in his own heart that was praying for another way, but his daughter was at stake. There was no other way. No matter how sure he was in his own abilities, he knew for a fact he could not beat Naruto. That last battle told him as much. Maybe if he had used a Kyuubi, then he could have forced him to fight seriously. But for fear of losing control, he held back. And he did not even notice that through the entire battle, that Naruto could also perform the Harasshin, and yet he refused to use it, just merely toying with him. He was trying to humble him. In the past 3 days, he received 3 other letters from Kumo, Kira, and Nesan, all describing their attack and the theft of their Kage loved ones. Menma had no idea what Naruto was planning, but he felt like it was falling right into place. Maybe he was planning on inciting a war. He had all the components for such a task. Maybe it was just so simple right in front of him that made him want to do it. Every living shinobi connected to a village was calling for his head right now. Well, aside from the Hidden Stone, he hasn't heard nothing from them. A knock broke the silence. Before he could answer, 2 people marched inside. Is it true, said Mito. A very heated and desperate look in her eyes. Sasuke stood behind her, just as alert. Menma got to his feet as he walked towards the window. He took Samara-chan, he said, as Mito looked towards the unconscious Sakura. Damn it. What the hell are we gonna do, she said. We are not gonna do anything, he said, as he added a lot of pressure to the we. Why, aren't you trying to find her? Why haven't you just teleported to her? Naruto has tampered with the seal. I cannot feel the pull. We tried everything, he said. So we're just gonna sit around and do nothing? Mito asked. She sat down beside Sakura. What if he kills her? He wouldn't do that, Menma said. He tried to tell himself. Menma, Sasuke said, making his presence known. Look around you. Look how much people that he's killed. Are you still trying to defend that monster? No, we'll find her, he said. We will find her. As he looked through the window once again, all of them were alerted as they heard footsteps. The door opened up as a gate guard came in the letter. Hokage-sama, we receive another note. Is it a hidden stone? Menma asked. The man shook his head. Menma took it as he looked down towards it. What is it? Said Sasuke, as Menma read it out aloud after reading it a few times. Dear Hokage, it is my greatest pleasure that I offer you an invitation to this event that will allow you to retrieve your prize that was taken away from you and your village. Since it is a prize, you must follow the rules of the game that I've set up down to the T. Any ulterior motives or actions will be taken as a cheat, and your prize will be eliminated. The rules of this game are simple. You must meet me at the location on the back of this note in 3 days. Bring with you nothing but yourself, any Kage of your village that is still living, your strongest Jonin, and one other individual of your choice. Optional, arm yourself for a battle. The rest of the instruction will be given to you upon your arrival. I pray that you heed my warning and stick to the rules. My patience is far from thin. No late entries will be accepted. Failure to comply by the rules, failure to attend, failure to cooperate would lead to the elimination of your prize. See you soon, little brother. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want to see the next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below, turn on that bell notification so you posted. Remember to share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also guys, stay in tune for the rest of what is coming your way, and I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. And also if you're new, yes, I need that 4 channels: Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, and Anime Prince, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and destroy that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And don't forget to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you guys. So without further ado, what is to get hello to you. See you guys soon. Peace.